The Water Diary, brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of The Water Diary, right on SABC1, Mzansi for sure. The show is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation and SABC Education. Feel free to interact with us on social media. Our handles are on the screen. Send us your comments. Tell us what you think of the show.
We kick off today's show by covering the World Water Day Summit and Expo, held in KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, at the Albert Luthuli ICC Centre last week.
Hi, fellow South Africans and people of the world. We're here in eThekwini, KwaZulu-Natal, on the 22nd of March, which is World Water Day. We now have a World Water Week being hosted here on behalf of the United Nations. It's all about sharing on alternative solutions to deal with this scarce resource. Remember, water is a scarce resource, and therefore the theme for this year is about grey water, an untapped resource. What is grey water? Grey water is what we normally call wastewater. And we do believe that there isn't any form of water which is waste, because even out of what we call wastewater, you can do many other things. Let's save this precious resource. Let's use it for more than one instance, but most importantly, let's change our behavior and do things in a different way. We're looking forward to the declaration by President Jacob Zuma, who's not here today as the President of South Africa, but a representative of the world on behalf of the General Secretary of the United Nations. We're proud of that our President is part of it. It therefore means South Africa, you yourself as an individual, you can lead by example. The President of this country has been recognized to have been a champion of helping us to survive the drought over the last 4 years, of helping us to reach out to more than 86% of South Africans with clean, drinkable water, to 91% of South Africans who have dignified sanitation solutions. But remember, there are still those that are unserved. So let's use this wastewater and make it a very reliable source. We count on all of you. Let's spread the message.
It is my honor to address you today on World Water Day on behalf of the United Nations World Water Assessment Program's high-level panel on water. Today is a special occasion marking World Water Day 2017 and also the launch of the 2017 World Water Development Report. This key report is aimed at drawing attention to the current dismal global status of water and sanitation, and to inspire commitment to an urgent call for action by world leaders to ensure the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the bleak global picture presented in the 2017 World Water Development Report requires world leaders to urgently prioritize the improvement of access to essential water and sanitation services. On this important day, it is befitting to recall the words of the 20th century poet W.H. Auden, who said, quote unquote, "Thousands have lived without love, no one without water." Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to declare this summit open and to officially launch the 2017 World Water Development Report. I thank you.
We also spoke to exhibitors at the event.
Hi, welcome to TNM Innovations. We are a 100% black-owned company, youth-owned, 30% women-owned. We specialize in research and development under the water and sanitation sector. Today at the Durban ICC World Water Day exhibition, we have two of our products. Namely, we have the P Basin and the Lucat. Perhaps Godfrey can tell us about the P Basin.
Basically, the P Basin is a combination of a zinc and a urinal. So what happens is that after doing your business, you press the tap to flush. As you flush, it allows you to wash your hands.
What we have here is a Lucap. The Lucap is an invention that came about when we saw the need to separate the basin, or rather to combine the basin and the toilet system. In every current household now, facilities, hospitals, clinics and schools, you have a system that is filled up by about 7 to 9 liters of fresh water. That fresh water is municipal fed. Now, for us to change this, we saw it as a need that fresh water coming into the system can be used as a tap. So how the Lucap works, we've taken that fresh water that was supposed to be installed in a system, and now you wash your hands with that water. At this element, we are achieving, number one, we are saving water. Number two, we are flushing grey. Number three, you are being forced to be hygienic. One of the benefits that we find with the Lucap is that it doesn't change your plumbing, it doesn't change your reticulation, it doesn't change how your toilet or system operates. So what you basically do is that if today you have a toilet that's functioning as it is, you simply remove the top of the system and put in the Lucap. It's a DIY system that can be utilized by anyone, and again, for kids that love water, it will be a big saving for parents.
Sembcorp Caesar Water is a subsidiary of Sembcorp Industries from a Singapore company, and we in South Africa have two operations, in Nelspruit and in Ballito. In Ballito, we render services to the Ilembe District Municipality, the full suite of water and sanitation, and we've also recently constructed our water recycling plant to portable standard and distribution to households.
The World Water Day Summit and Expo was also used to announce winners of the Hack for Water 2017 competition.
Being disabled, it is difficult to open water, the taps, and to harvest water without wasting water. So this is what led me to come up with this innovation. Being disabled was one of the reasons, and the second reason being the severe drought that we've been experiencing in South Africa. It takes time and thinking, coming up with the innovation, but it's a blow molded tap, and it works on a valve fitting. Find a gap in the market, look at doing something that's going to add value to the world and to the country. Financial assistance would definitely help.
We have a product called MoWash. MoWash is short for mobile washer or mobile hand washing basin. And how the project came about is we had a funeral in Soweto, and we had a problem washing our hands, and we know it's custom in our culture that coming back from the cemetery you need to wash your hands. How we developed the product, we started simply by just trying to understand how is it that we can run the water without or letting the water run without touching anything. The support we need from the department is to give us exposure, to take us where there are issues of water, and let's see how we can address this together.
The company I work for makes water-related software. And with funding from the United Nations Environmental Programme and DHI, they made a serious water game. It's a free-to-play web-based game. To use the game via this competition, all we needed to do was to include the questions in the game. The research angle was obviously related to the perception of the youth. We were researching what people thought about water and water risks. The big challenge or limitation is that it works on Microsoft operating system or Mac. Well, I'd like to invite an opportunity to the department to use the free-to-play web-based game to actually promote water awareness.
back to the Water Diary, right in SABC1, Mzansi for sure. My name is Mpoputini. Now, South Africans have been praying for rain. Today, we visit the South African Weather Services to find out when our country can expect rain.
Mpoputini visits the South African Weather Service to find out how weather predictions can help areas in our country that are experiencing drought. Despite the many rains we've had in our country, there are still provinces that are experiencing low dam levels and drought.
Now, drought has affected farmers and agriculture. Can seasonal predictions help farmers to prepare better?
Yes, indeed it can. However, unfortunately, the seasonal prediction models right now are very much clouded by a lot of uncertainty. So this is very unfortunate for now. But that's why we like to encourage the public to, not to speculate at the moment. What we advise them to do is to monitor regularly our seasonal forecast in the coming spring and summer seasons.
Christina, what is hydrology and how important has it become during the water crisis?
Hydrology is concerned with the broad understanding of hydrological cycle, including the infrastructure. And the current water crisis has taught us in terms of hydrology that we need to understand the complex geophysical processes that are involved in all the components of a hydrological cycle, because we have seen that once one component is disturbed, the impact comes in the form of water shortage as well as its quality. The second significance that we have learned from this is that we need to maintain the hydrological infrastructure. Most of the dams are old and they are filled up with silt, so we need to maintain. And then another thing that I think is important is that we need to invest on hydrometeorological observation networks, such as stream flow gauges, radar, and rain gauges, so that we can have readily available data for development of early warning systems.
Kilebogile, after the drought, when can we expect, rain and expect normal weather conditions to stabilize the agriculture sector?
As I've indicated, our seasonal prediction models are still not clear as to whether we're going to have El Nino or La Nina. However, what we can say to the public at the moment is that unfortunately South Africa is still currently experiencing drought, and its recovery will only be dependent on the forecast for spring and summer.
Now, what are your thoughts on the current drought in South Africa?
My thought on the current drought, I think it's unprecedented, but at the same time, I think it's very difficult to measure the extent of its severity because it's still ongoing. So basically, we need more research to compare the current drought with the previous ones. And in so doing, then we can be able to tell whether this is the worst drought that has ever happened. For one to be a hydrometeorologist, you need a component of hydrology and a meteorology. So maybe I can start explaining first by explaining what is a hydrometeorologist. It's just concerned with linking the relationship between the weather, climate, and hydrological resources. So what I like with being a hydrometeorologist, I think, to uncover intricate relationships between the proxy parameters of weather, climate, and the hydrological resources.
Kilebogile, what subjects does one need to have in order to pursue a career in the weather industry?
Well, I understand that at the high school level, it's obviously your science subjects, and at the tertiary level, it's just your BSc General with major subjects such as mathematics, physics, and as well as statistics in order to get your honors course for you to be at the weather service.
Now, Christina, what does your daily job entail? Give us a picture in the life of Christina.
Basically, my job is research, scientific research and hydrometeorology. So, but then to be able to conduct that research, you need to, the first thing is literature review. I need to update myself on what has been done. And it also involves data acquisition, pre-processing, and discussions with the colleagues. Once you have the results, you need to interact with the other colleagues to be able to discuss what you have. And sometimes you write the reports. Once in a while we write scientific papers so that your work can be known abroad. And I do mentorship sometimes.
Now, what sort of tools do you use for your job?
I use, basically, it's various computational software such as MATLAB, R, and GIS.
Your final message to young people watching the show who want to pursue a career in the weather industry?
Well, I understand that atmospheric science, the word meteorology, on its own, it's a bit scary. But what I can tell them is it's fun. I mean, the thought of having to learn a lot about the behavior of the atmosphere itself, it's an exception on its own. So I advise them to go out there, just try to challenge those science subjects and consider meteorology as your career.
Finally, what's your message to young people who would like to pursue a career in your field?
I think it's simple. They have to take science very serious and focus on their studies.
For those of you interested in a career at the South African Weather Service, here are their details on the screen. Welcome back to the Water Diary.
Many rivers and dams across the country have dried up. Today we take a look at the cause and effects of the drought that has hit South Africa. So what is our country's current drought status? And are we at a stage where we can say drought is over?
That is a very good question. There have been some very good rains recently that are very encouraging. We know from the mathematical modeling that we're doing around the world that we are at the end of the El Nino cycle. There's been a very good signaling event in Asia around the normal monsoons. So indications are that we are out of the El Nino cycle. But whether or not we are completely out of a drought in South Africa depends on whether or not the rains fall in the right time of the year. So in the Western Cape region, for example, we've had normal winter rains, and this is part of the cycle. So we think we're almost there. But what really will tell us whether or not we're out of a drought is, of course, what happens in the normal rainy season around September, October, and November for the rest of the country, which is the summer rainfall area. If that comes into play, then we are back in a normal cycle.
Now, how have South Africans and water stakeholders dealt with droughts?
Well, some folk have done very well, and some folk have really done rather badly. So to begin with the latter part, the early warnings around the droughts were there around the country since the beginning of the drought 3 years ago already. There has been a very slow response in several sectors around the adaptation. So one of the places that has been quite positive has been the agricultural sector, which has had quite a useful and quick response. I mean, there's been a very bad impact on agriculture because the drought has been quite severe, but it would have been even more severe if they didn't respond so quickly. On the other hand, people in the large urban environments, particularly the metros and the big cities, have been very slow to respond. They've been resistant to moving towards rationing water. They've been resistant to moving towards water-saving measures, and this is a worrying sign.
Now, what can ordinary South Africans at home do to assist during this time?
Well, the first thing to absorb, and maybe the most powerful thing about having had a drought, is people have seen what that impact is. It is very severe. It doesn't only have the potential to destroy agriculture, it has the potential to destroy industry, and it's personal hardship for everyone. Whenever people are using water, they should remember that experience, because that is what is possible to happen again and again and again if you are not water-wise. And all of us can be water-wise. The little differences that we make every single day either positively influences our water security or negatively influences our water security. Our ability to ensure that our children are water-wise means that they're talking about this in schools. They're spreading the message to their friends at schools. Those friends are taking those messages back to their homes. It's influencing their family environment. It influences the local community. Those parents now who know more about the water situation than they knew before take that back to their workplace. And together we can organize for ourselves to be much more water conscious and therefore much more water secure.
This is our water saving tip of the week. When waiting for the shower or bath water to warm up, place a bucket and use the same water to water your garden. This is our water saving tip of the week. Don't forget to get in touch with the Department of Water and Sanitation. Our details are on the screen.
This is how we come to the end of yet another exciting episode of the Water Diary, right on SABC1, Mzansi for sure. Remember, the show is brought to us by the Department of Water and Sanitation and SABC Education. Remember, every drop counts. Hashtag save water. Nakimpoa Putini Harakopane Hape, Bekeng Etang, right on SABC1, Mzansi for sure.
The Water Diary, brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation.